Hey everyone, I'm going to do a video here on a buyer's guide to AK-47 model rifles. I get some questions, a lot of PMs on what kind of AK should I buy and what should I look for and stuff like that, so I decided I'd make a video of it. It's kind of it's a real broad topic, so I'll try and cover some of the basics. I've owned a lot of AK variant rifles. I've owned some really inexpensive ones, and I've owned some very expensive ones, so I'll try to cover the basics and do the best I can to narrow it down and to help you decide which one you want to buy. So, if you're looking for an AK rifle, AK-47s and 74s are probably the most produced firearm in the world. There's probably, I'd say probably about 100 million copies of them running around somewhere. And of course, the AK, most of you will know the history of the AK and its reliability, its reputation for reliability. So the history of the AK is going to go beyond the scope of the video. I'm assuming if you're wanting to buy an AK, you already know the history of the AK, and that's why you decided to pick it. One of the first things you're going to have to decide right off the bat is if you're going to go with an AK-74 or an AK-47. Now, the two rifles you have in front of you is one of each. The polymer, the black rifle on the back side here, is a 74 model AK. Two cartridges. This is a 5.45 cartridge. This is the 7.62 cartridge. 7.62 by 39, 5.45 by 39. If you're new to firearms, you may think the bigger cartridge is the newer one, and actually it's the older cartridge. This is the 7.62 by 39 or 7.62 Soviet. It's probably one of the most manufactured cartridges in the world. It's an intermediate rifle cartridge. It came out in 1946, 47-ish. It originally was chambered to work in the SKS, when it was used also in the AK-47. It's based on the 7.92 Kurz used in the Sturmgewehr. It's a 30 caliber cartridge. Or 30 caliber cartridge. This was used until 1974, until the AK-74 5.45 came out. This was the Soviet answer to the American 5.56. Now, I don't want to get into a cartridge debate about which one's better. Generally accepted, it is generally accepted that the 5.45 is better than the 7.62. As far as being against personnel. Now, this will penetrate for like foliage, cinder blocks, and stuff better. It's just designed to tunnel through things. It's an old cartridge. This is designed to tumble and create wound channels and be more effective against people and not penetrate things or over-penetrate. So against people, this is generally considered a better cartridge, the 5.45 and the 7.62. But that's all I'm really going to get into it as far as which one's better. I don't want to get into that kind of topic because a lot of that's opinion-based. Really, when it comes to your rifle usage, you're going to have to make up your mind as far as ammo. Right now, 5.45, as of the summer 2011, is the cheapest. You'll get much more to 5.45 by your money, but you're really limited in what you can get. It does have an airspace in the nose, so there aren't any needs, as far as I know, for hollow point rounds. But really all you're going to find is going to be FMJ rounds, with full metal jacket, 5.45 rounds with semi-corrosive primers, semi-corrosive powder, Soviet military surplus. This is 7.62, and this is actually, as you can see, this is brass case, and that's kind of rare. Most 7.62 is steel case. I've got some steel case around here somewhere. I'll get one for you. Hold on. This is 7.62, steel cased, and this is also a hollow point. This is what you're going to find the most of. There are much more manufacturers in the United States for 7.62 steel case, and it's just more commonly made because it's cheaper. The guns are designed to just throw bullets out. So you'll have more choices and more options for 7.62 as far as ammunition types and who makes and manufacturers go, but this is still generally cheaper. Either one of these rounds is pretty inexpensive. For a little over $130, you can usually get 500 of each one of these, but like I said, this is generally cheaper. I think I've got for what I paid like $190 with shipping, and I got 1,000 rounds of this. You can't quite get for this, but it's close. So that's going to be up to you as far as which one of those two choices you want to make. So once you've made up your mind, you want 74 or 47, then you're going to move on to, well, what do I want to do? Alright, well now that we got that out of the way, the next thing you're going to have to go over, since we're on the topic of, ammunition, is going to be what kind of magazines you're going to want to get. And really, you've got a few choices. There are the very common AK steel magazines. There's these really rare Tula Bakelite magazines. There's the polymer magazines that the 74 has. There's lots of different choices. There's so many magazines out there. There's even US-made polymer magazines. I don't know if there's any US steel-made magazines yet, but there might be out there somewhere. So that's the next choice you're going to want to make once you've decided which one of these two you want to go with. And what size magazine. Sorry, excuse me, got a bit of acid reflux making me cough. What size magazine you're going to go with. 30 rounds is the most common. That's what most people go for. They make 40 rounders and they make 20 rounders, but that's the most common too. Unless you've got one of the Hungarian model AMD 65, I believe, which is a modified version of the AK. It's kind of it's a unique design. It's not bad. It's just different. But the way the front grip on those is, 20 rounders usually work. The Romanian rifles that have the pistol grip carved out of the wood up here, 20 rounders tend to work a little better than those. But in general, I'm going to say you're going to go with 30 rounders, and then you may pick up one of those Romanian or Korean drum magazines for it. I carry 75 or 100 rounds. Excuse me. And that'll pretty much sum up your magazine ammunition problem. The next thing you're going to have to go with on your AKs is a milled receiver or a stamped receiver. Basically, well, here, I'll give you an idea. Hold on just a second. Alright, now as I was saying, the next choice you're going to have to make is if you want a milled receiver gun or a stamped receiver gun. This is kind of where you have to decide if you want to spend a lot of money or a little bit of money. Any gun with a milled AK receiver, you're going to be spending a little bit of money. I think the least expensive one I've seen is a Polish milled receiver. It runs about $600, whereas you can get a Romanian stamped receiver for about $200 less, and that was the cheapest. Most of the milled guns go for well over $1,000. Basically, this part here is the receiver. It's what all the other parts really are built to attach to. This is a Romanian model, and I'm getting ready to refinish it, which is why all the coloring is off of it, or the parkerizing is off, and the paint's off of it. This is a stamped receiver. This is the most common. Originally, the Soviets, the very early AKs, had a stamped receiver. And Soviet technology is always, well, bad in most cases. When their industrial capacity is always bad. This is what I'm talking about, World War II, post-World War II. And they're still kind of rebuilding their industry. And their stamped receivers were starting to fall apart, couldn't handle all the pressures. Basically the tolerances and durability wasn't going to hold up. The stamped receivers still fall apart. So what they did was they made a milled receiver, which essentially they take a giant block of steel and they machine out all the bits that they want. They cut everything out of it, hollow it out, and that's a receiver. It's a big waste of steel, but it makes a very strong receiver. The stamped receivers are just a flat piece of steel that's just stamped by machine, folded into place. Either one of them works. It's kind of debatable. Some people say that the milled receivers are higher quality. However, with the way the AK works, I would argue, and there's other people who write a lot of books who would also argue, that the stamped receivers is actually superior over the milled in terms of long-term durability, because the AK is really designed to flex and bend. It's kind of built into the design of the gun, to not only for keeping dirt and crap out of it, but just the whole gun kind of flexes, which also leads to it's less accurate than other rifles. That's a different topic. But anyway, since the receiver is stamped, it will flex and bend in places where the milled receiver will not. The problem is, after a long time, the milled receiver will begin to generate or you'll get cracks in the milled receiver because it can't flex. It's just too stiff. The metal wears out and starts to crack. Now, this is an excessive amount of time. 99.99% of people, that's not going to be a difference. So don't let that discourage you from getting a milled gun. There's lots of first-generation milled guns still running around, in the world right now. It does happen, and you might want to take that into consideration, but I wouldn't really consider it a detractor. But it is out there, and it is in a lot of books on the Kalashnikov rifle about milled receivers and why they went to stamped, other than cost. Generally, it's going to be argued it was cost, and that's going to be argued. But just take that in mind, that sometimes the milled receiver ones tend to develop stress cracks over time. So, okay, so now that you've made up your mind which one of those you want to do. Oh, and I forgot to mention, the milled receivers are only on the, as far as I know, I've never seen them, only on the AK-47 models. Everything else is stamped. Could be wrong, but I've never seen a milled receiver that wasn't on the 47 model rifle. Anyway, next choice you're going to make is, what do I want to get? Where do I want to get it from? Well, importing a rifle in the U.S. is pretty much over. This is going to get political, but a lot of people who believe in gun rights tend to just kind of check off the R on the voting ticket. Not that Democrats are pro-gun, there are a few of them out there, but you have to take into consideration that it's the U.S. government and the ATF, and the last thing either one of those two entities wants you to have, no matter who's in charge, is a gun, because, well, let's face it, you can resist with a gun. Granted, you'll get mowed over by a tank or artillery, so all that prepping is just retarded, but, you know, you can at least put up a fight with a gun. The point is that in order to make owning a gun more of a pain in the ass, George H.W. Bush signed an executive order banning the importation of 43 or 44 different types of semi-automatic rifles. So you hear about this stuff called pre-ban or post-ban, and that's where it comes from. A lot of the pre-ban guns were extremely nice quality, and they were inexpensive. The best made Chinese semi-automatics you can buy, at least in my opinion and many others, are the Chinese model Norincos and Polytechs. If you can get your hands on one of those, you can still get the Polytechs for a pretty good price. You'll have to change some of the furniture around to make it look like an AK. But those are the nicest, best made, highest quality AKs you can get. Anybody who's owned one, who usually will own other AKs and swear it. I wish I had mine here with me. I really need to go pick it up, but it's at the other house. I'd love to show you guys. I'll make a video on it when I get it, but it's unbelievably nice quality, great finish. Not even the nicest made American or Russian AKs can't really hold a candle to the other Chinese. And I know I'm thinking high quality in Chinese. You're thinking, oh, that can't be true. But anybody who's owned one, or just go on to Gunbroker and look up, I think it's the Polytech Legend, which is their most famous imported AK. I think it's even on a milled receiver. I don't think you can see one, even look at one for less than $1,700. But anyway, you can't really get one imported anymore, so it's going to have to be a pre-ban imported gun. And if you look at one of those, you'll have a little bit of money. In which case, if you're looking for one of those, you probably don't need to be watching this video. You already know what you want, and you probably know more than I do. But assuming you don't, a lot of the guns you're going to look at if you're buying a new AK are parts kit guns. This is a Romanian WSR-10. It is the most common AK semi-auto rifle in the U.S. as far as I know. This one I have a 74 style flash hider on it. Doesn't come standard with it, and like I said, I've removed the finish off of it because I'm doing a little work to it, getting it refinished. But basically, depending on when you bought them, these were guns were military rifles. They chopped up. They basically took a torch and cut it from here, cut this receiver into pieces, took the dust cover off, took all the bits off, cut up the receiver, sent the parts over. They had a U.S. made receiver, and they put the parts back on it. Or I think they import them now already attached to the receiver. I can't get an answer from that 100% either way. But one way or the other, they come in a big parts kit. And basically the ATF will let you import these after they sit in ATF's lot for a long time. And these parts are reassembled. Now, some of these parts kit rifles, we can have quality from, I would say this is, I wouldn't say marginal, but, you know, I hate to use the word low, but this will be probably your bottom end as far as AK quality goes, to the higher quality rifles. And now, most of us know the phrase, you get what you pay for, and that runs here too. And you can't cut corners on a first-class kind of firearm, but you can still get an AK at a real reasonable prices. These Romanian AKs are not the nicest, best AKs, but they do work, and they will work reliably. And you can find them for $400 or $500. If you want to learn more about them, I have a series out. I'm still working on the third part of the series, but it'll cover all the details on them. And most of the problems with them are usually cosmetic, and they can be fixed. So there you go. Alright, one of the next things you're going to look at is what kind of furniture do I want. This has got This is my Romanian AK, and this has refinished wood furniture on it. This is just a standard AK-47 handguards. Some of the later ones have palm swells on them, make it fit your hand better. This is just laminated wood, and that is a Polish Bakelite pistol grip. It's a Bakelite, it's a synthetic man-made material. And really that's the next thing you're going to have to decide, if you basically want wood or polymer. Polymer is usually known to be superior, doesn't heat up. Well, I don't know. I would say the wood actually doesn't heat up as fast, but then again, the wood can catch on fire, the polymer can't. But I don't know. It depends. There's lightness, and then there's how. Like, it's really more to me. For most people, it's going to be cosmetic. Do you want wood furniture on it, or do you want polymer? The 74s came out with wood furniture. The 47s usually all had wood furniture, but there's the wood furniture here, and then there's the polymer furniture here. This is the Russian plum-colored. As you can see, it's not black. It is a plum color to it. It's just slightly. There's black, and you can see it's a little purple plum color. But it doesn't just come in that color. It comes in regular black. It comes in green. It comes in like a sand color. So really, that's up to you to decide which kind of furniture you want. Each has its advantages and disadvantages. Another thing you might want to consider is not really doing any of either, and doing something like this if you want a little more tactical rifle. I hate that term, but we'll call it that. This is a Midwest Industries rail system. If you want to mount lights and optics on your rifle, something like this. The Ultimax system, even the UTG system is good for budgets. You may want to go with this route so you can mount stuff to your AK. So that's up to you. But the choices are out there, and they're pretty endless. There's a whole bunch of different types of furniture for them. So you'll have to make up your mind on what you like, and then go around and see which you made a good choice or not. But usually furniture's pretty simple. You can't go really wrong. Even the cheapest stuff will usually work pretty well. Another thing you're going to hear about, not quite as often because most people don't care, is going to be R22 compliance. Once again, in order to make buying a firearm a pain in the ass, the ATF, who likes to smuggle firearms over to Mexican drug lords to have our citizens killed, I'm sure you all have seen that on the news lately, basically came up with a set of rules saying that U.S. imported parts have to have so many U.S. made parts on them. I think it's 16 parts. And most of the people, it's mostly just to irritate importers. They're trying to do everything they can to keep cheap firearms out of the hands of Americans. Because, well, I mean, obviously if you're poor, you're irresponsible, right? So they want to only make sure that only people with money can buy guns. They don't want them poor. They don't want cheap ones so that poor people can have the same rights as we do. Well, that's not what the ATF lady told me, but technically that's when I told her that, she didn't argue with me. Anyway, you have to have so many U.S.-made parts. Now, to give you an idea how asinine this law is, the gun sitting here is technically illegal, because it doesn't have enough parts. Now, watch out, I'm going to make it legal. Ooh, okay, before the ATF comes to my house. Oh, noes. Okay, now it's, oh, I hate doing it from this angle. Hang on. There we go. Alright, now it's legal. Ta-da! It's 922R compliant. Yeah, it's that stupid. It's a 30-round Tapco crappily made U.S. mag. It's a 30-round Tula mag. But do the exact same thing. They hold the same number of bullets. This is made in Russia. This is made in America. So the ATF doesn't want you to use this one or you're breaking the law. So if I have this in the house, technically, I can be violation of R22 if I have it in my rifle. But once I put that mag in it, I'm totally legal. If you're not an importer, gun manufacturer, actually nobody should really worry about it if you're just following the law, but you know how the ATF is. They love to bust people for whatever they can come up with. But generally, as a firearms owner, I wouldn't worry about it. I asked the ATF, and they've never, in the history of the ATF, arrested anybody at all for R22 compliance. So if you're just an everyday gun owner, don't worry about it. It's not really going to be a problem. The thing we're going to go into is shooting your AK. Now, I'm still working on a video with my Romanian rifles, just testing out their accuracy. I won't be able to go to the shooting range a couple times, because to be honest, I just don't have the money right now to go to the shooting range, and I can't find a place that'll let me shoot for free yet, so I haven't had time to really go do anything, but one thing that they're not going to probably remember to sell you when you buy your AK is one of those. And you're going to need one of these. This is a AK SKS front sight tool. And this will help you adjust your sights. Now I'm not going to go in the video about how to adjust your sights. It's a whole separate video. And there's lots of good ones out there. This one you can see cost me 15 bucks. Kind of pricey. You can get them for about 6 or 7, but it's a gun store, and I mean they're always going to be overpriced on parts. So whatever, it's only 15 bucks. So I went ahead and bought it. They're gonna want to sell you ammunition, slings, other tactical parts, but make sure you pick up one of these because you're gonna have to zero your rifle. Now, like I said, as far as getting into the difficulties of sighting it in, I'm not gonna get into that. That'll be a whole different other video, and somebody else can go into details. There's lots of videos out there for it, but just make sure you get one. You're going to need one. So you've probably narrowed it down as to what you want. You probably picked your variant. If you're going to go with the standard AK variant, if you're going to go with the Galil, if you're going to go with an AMD 64, 65, I'm sorry. So really, I hope that helped you guys narrow it down just a little bit, help you figure out what it is you want. Generally speaking, any gun you pick up off the shelf is probably going to run just fine. Now, there will be occasions where somebody won't crown the barrel, or the sights are going to be canted. You'll have to do minor stuff. But considering the AKs I have seen and that other guys in the military have seen in just unbelievably horrible conditions, and the gun still works, there's generally not a lot of problems you're going to run into. Just make sure you ask if there's like a money-back guarantee if you buy it if the gun doesn't work. Any manufacturer you get them from, generally speaking, is going to have some kind of a warranty for your weapon if something doesn't work right or you have problems with it. Even the cheapest one. I know people will bag on Century's warranty, which is, I think, 1 year from the time they manufacture the rifle, which includes if it sits on the shelf for 1 year, they consider that 1 year's warranty. However, that being said, my brother has a Century and IMI Galil, and when he first got it, it had some problems with not being able to feed the round. It would extract, and then it wouldn't have enough gas to blow the round out of or to push the bolt back far enough for the extractor to work. We called Century, sent it in a box, shipped it to him, and 2 weeks later shipped it back, fixed, didn't cost him a thing. And I know that gun sat on the shelf way longer than a year, so they were pretty good about it. So, but that's that's going to be one of the issues you're going to have. Just ask them, what the warranty is, and I can't really think of what else. The only thing I can think of is going to be the really weird stuff, like some of the guns, like the Valmet guns that are awesome. Some of them have these spring-loaded firing pins, and even though they look like they're in really good shape, sometimes the gun will just go full auto on you. And it turns out that maybe the previous owner didn't keep the bolt well oiled, or the pin recess gets too big, and the pin stayed forward and jammed into the end of the bolt, and it caused the gun to crap, I can't think of the word, but just, go into full automatic mode. I don't know, I feel stupid not being able to know. It's got a phrase, I just can't think of what it is. Anyway, just a runaway gun syndrome. Then in general, I hope that helps. As far as manufacturers in the U.S., what you should buy, what you should not buy, like I said, pretty much anyone you're going to pick up is going to work fine. It's really up to you. There are a ton of U.S. gun manufacturers, and there's quality from low level to high level. So that's going to be a whole separate video. You've got Century, you've got Tennessee guns, you've got Arsenal guns, you've got VeraWorks guns, you've got what I just saw, Edwin's guns out of Arizona. You got Red Jacket Firearms. There are a ton of AK manufacturers. Some of them are good, some of them are crap. Some models they make good, some models they make crap. Lancaster's another big one, I forgot. So I can't really tell you as far as who to buy from and what not, and what to buy from. Now, if you want specifics like what's the best 47, what's the best 74, it might be a little more general, or a little more specific, and get into it. Some people talk about, some of them have dimples, and that's how you can tell it's a high-quality AK. Well, because this washer doesn't have dimples, it means it's shit. But that doesn't mean anything. There's Saiga rifles, which everybody knows are nice, high-quality, well, they're good rifles. They're Russian rifles, they're good rifles, and a lot of them don't have mag dimples on it. If you go to, there's a site that sells all Russian parts, and it's like Kalish. I'll have to look it up. I'll post a link to it. And they've got guys who build replicas, you know, as close as they can get to the original one. There's a whole build where a guy has a Sega rifle and he sends it out to have the dimple pressed in it because it didn't come with a rifle, because it doesn't come with dimples. And he wanted his rifle to look authentic. So there you go. Not all of them have dimples. So you can't be just that generic and just say, well, if it's got this one part, it's good. It's got this other part. Just look for things like any piece of machinery. Make sure that all the rivets are in good shape. Make sure that there's not excessive, you know, where the rivets are punched in the receiver, that there's not excessive amounts of pressure on it where it's pushed in the receiver. You know, try to find one that's in cosmetically good shape, but don't let that fool you. But just look for one, you know, to pull apart the chamber, make sure it doesn't have chips or cracks in it. Anything you would do with a normal machine. Remember, guns are really simple. They're just springs and levers. They're not really complicated, and generally speaking, it's a machine. It's with interchangeable parts. If something's working on it, if you buy a gun and you think something's wrong with it, then you can replace the part. If you got the bolt in the bolt carrier and you're worried about it, you know, you can buy a new bolt. You need to go take it to a gunsmith unless you know how to put a go no go gauge in it. But you can replace the bolt. It's like I said, it's a gun. It's designed. It's had interchangeable parts on it since, oh god, when did Eli Whitley invent interchangeable parts? I can't imagine. Right around the 1850s, 1860s. I know everybody knows him from the cotton gin, but that's not what he's really that well known for. You just know that because of education. He actually is one of the people who made interchangeable parts, and one of the first things he made it for was guns. History coming out of me, sorry. Anyway, I hope that's helped you guys. I would be glad to answer specific questions I have owned in my life. 5 or 6 or 7 AKs, I think 6. What I would call straight up AKs. Now, as far as Velvet rifles and stuff like that, and Galils and AMD-64, that's a whole other topic, and that's going to be several more of them. I've bought and sold a lot of them over time, and even still, I don't have that many. I haven't built an AK yet, although the idea is really becoming, it's rolling around in my head, especially since the girlfriend really wants an AK, and I thought about building her one. So if I do that, I'll make a video on it. I've been asking C2 Builder specifics, because all I have is hand tools about how to put the barrel in, and he's giving me a really good idea of how to do it at the house. So anyway, if I do that, I'll help you. If you guys got any questions, I'll try to answer my best. I'm not, maybe a die-hard expert, but I read books and I own a couple of gun forums, and while not everything is true on the internet, some of it has to be. And I shoot a lot, and I've built a few other rifles in my times, and I've built a few other AK variant style rifles in my times, and I've fired a lot of them. So, if I pointed out something that's obviously wrong, hey, let me know. I'll be happy. It's something new. I'll learn it. Now, if it's just your opinion, that's going to be something else. And I don't mind hearing opinions. If you want to disagree with me about something, I'll make other videos at 556, 545. And other than just outright butthurt trolling, I'll just let them sit there. And there's people who's argued with me, stated really good points. I don't have any problem with that. So if you got something you want to talk about, fine. If you're just going to be a butthurt troll about it, then I'm just going to delete your comment. And nothing of value will be lost. So, anyway, I hope that's helped. We'll see you guys later.